very glad and excited that we can be here together and talk about a little bit of the recruiting program that we have for this fall. We are recording this, and so we'll send out the link to the video online for a YouTube posting of it later, and you'll be able to share that with everyone inside your troops. But without much ado, Liz, should we get started?
Yes, we should. Go ahead,
All right,
Pat.
let's rock and roll. All right. So for tonight's Fireside, we've got a slideshow that we're going to go through tonight. It'll help keep us on track. If you've got questions, feel free to ask as we go. We may have to pause you and just take that question offline, but and that's just in the hope of being able to keep it moving forward. So, but there is a common pattern for what I am seeing inside, not just our local council, but I think nationwide inside scouting. Look, through COVID, we have had our Cub Scout packs really struggle over the last year. Our Scouts BSA units, our venturing crews, our ships, our exploring posts, they have survived this a little bit better, but our Cub Scout packs have really struggled a little bit more. And I share this with you for one important reason. Look, going forward, our troops have historically always relied on the easiest pattern of getting kids into our troops, right? That has been going to the Cub Scout packs and getting those Weeblo 2s to cross over into your troop. Well, if our Cub Scout packs are struggling on membership, you may not have that same number of kids that you're used to coming from a pack into your troop. And so tonight, hopefully we'll give just a few ideas, but we'll also help bring you to attention that, look, you need to focus on recruiting inside your troop, inside your ship, and inside your crew, okay? We'll talk about some of the positions you may need, and then who's doing the recruiting, resources, and a little bit of knowing your audience. So, but Liz, let's talk about these statistics that we've got up on the screen for a few minutes. You want to share with those?
Sure. So these statistics were actually put together by Owen McCullough, who was the past national venturing director. He noticed the same drop off that I think a lot of us are noticing in our Scout troops. And if you look at the fact that the Scouts BSA tenure is only 29 months, that's basically saying they finish their Eagle, whether they're a male or a female, and then they're done. So 50% loss between the ages of 13 and 15. However, if they join an older youth program, that extends their tenure by an additional 16 and a half months. And that is something that we can all do to help retain youth within the council. I've heard it so many times. Scoutmasters say, "You're stealing my youth, you're stealing my youth." Would you rather have them go into a ship or a crew or even a venturing or a post and retain them overall within the council? Or would you rather lose them permanently to sports and academics and outside interests at school? Back to you, Pat.
Sure. It's really those car fumes and perfumes and everything, right? So the entire intent is for us to just openly acknowledge on the front end, hey, look, there's some challenges we face. As our kids get older, their attention to scouting fades. And so by asking yourself, should I invite a scout that has fallen away and hasn't shown up over the last month, over the last year? Should I invite that scout to go participate in a venturing crew or a ship or an exploring post? The answer is heck yes. And the reason for that, what Liz is pointing out, is there is a common pattern where if you feel a kid is slipping away from scouting, maybe going down the wrong path even, invite them into one of these older youth programs, because in the long run, the pattern shows that you're going to have them back around and helping out with the troop. And those older youth programs are there to help even further along, teach them even more leadership skills and make them even more a valuable scout for your younger scouts inside your troop. So just an easy way to retain. Really, really easy way to retain and consider something that maybe is a little bit outside of the box from how your troop may handle things currently. Now, let's talk about these positions inside your troop. So if you're looking at doing recruiting and you're wondering, gosh, how am I going to do this inside my troop, my crew, my ship? Okay, well, your unit leader is going to be there, of course, to help focus or share the message on this is something we need to do. Your troop committee chair is there also, but how about a welcome parent? How about a new member coordinator? It's the same role, just a little bit of different name, but let's just call it a welcome parent for now, okay? If you have somebody that kind of is at the door at all of your main meetings, and that person's welcoming everybody in, and at the sudden you've got a new scout that comes through the door, that welcome parent can introduce themselves to the new family that's there. They can then also turn around and give them information, resources, guide them to other people inside the troop to meet, help make sure that they find a patrol or a different group to meet with. Look, it's that person is there to help make sure that that family feels welcome inside your unit. There is a common pattern where if somebody at the scout office reaches out to us and says, hey, I have a son or I have a daughter and they're interested in joining scouts, and they go to a meeting for the very first time and nobody makes them feel welcome, I don't even get a chance at inviting them to a different unit most of the time. They're done. So such a critical role, and it's such an easy one. These people are all around. You've got people that are just willing to shake hands, say hi to people. You're not really asking them to do much beyond the meeting. You're just asking them to show up, make sure they're greeted, make sure that they have information to share with them, and point them in the right direction. So it's a very easy role. You can recruit almost anybody into this role. Now, who's doing the recruiting inside your unit? It really is simple. It's everybody, right? There's different times and processes and so forth that you need to pay attention to, but they can recruit, meaning the boys, the parents, the scout leaders, everyone can recruit. And when they do recruit, they just need to know, where do I send that person and who do I send them to? Am I sending them first to our website, or am I sending them first over to this other individual? Do they need to call this person, or do we need to have that person call this new family? Everybody needs to know what the pattern and the process is. And it takes 5 seconds to communicate it, but you can't just send it by email, right? We all know how many people read our emails. You got to say it. Sometimes you have to say it multiple times over and over again throughout the year because people forget, they don't read the email, and sometimes they just don't listen. Now, resource-wise, there's a lot of resources out there for you as a troop, crew, or ship to recruit. But just know that our council is trying to make sure that we're the number one resource for you. You can go to nevadabsa.org/membership. Our website on that page will be updated and have a live update on Friday. Just know that there'll be resources there, including a posting of these videos and so forth on that page, and also links and so forth for further resources and to be able to request any materials needed for recruitment. And then also know that you have your district membership chair, your district executive, and you also have our membership committee. So if you're looking to reach out to our membership committee, you can simply email us at membership@nevadabsa.org. And then National has been working diligently to update its own recruitment resources. So you can go to scouting.org/recruitment. Now, Liz, you and I talked a little bit earlier about this, but the audience is so important. You need to know who you're recruiting to, right?
Correct.
And so your school, any schools, high school, middle school, elementary school. Oh, I said elementary school. Wait a minute here. We're dealing with troops and ships and crews. Yep. elementary school, because fifth graders are there, right?
Uh-huh.
And then social media is so key, right? Next door, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, just keep going. Instagram, YouTube. A lot of people don't consider YouTube one, but it is. YouTube is one of the top resources that pulls up on a Google search. And what's the number one thing that people find resources from is Google searches, right? So a lot of times people do this, Liz. They pull up their phone and they type Scout unit near me, Cub Scouts near me, Boy Scouts near me. They type in that keyword and it instantly takes them to a Google search. And if your troop or your pack or ship or crew has a recruitment video to welcome and invite people on YouTube, that's going to be one of the first things that pulls up. So, but also, Liz, we talked about how important it is to be seen in public, right?
That is correct. We, think outside the box. In past years, pre-COVID years, Elko probably had 5 parades a year. That's a great way to be seen consistently, is if you have troops, you have crews, even if you have packs mixed in with the troops, is to be a part of the parade. And I'm sure that there's a Nevada Day parade coming up in Carson City. Isn't that right, Pat?
Yeah, it's coming up for sure. And Liz, the important part about being seen is don't just be seen, but as you're seen, make sure people know that they're invited to join. If you're making a troop t-shirt and everybody's wearing that in the parade, make sure it says join us. If you're doing a banner and walking down a parade, put join troop 850. If you're going somewhere else and you're just doing an event in a park, take a banner with you and make sure you put out welcome to join troop 495. It's as simple as little things, come ask me, a name tag, come ask me about joining scouts, wear that around. But it's important to be seen. And as we talk about being seen, look, we have the ability to get yard signs for people. And as I tell people, if you pull up Google Maps and you sit down and say, all right, this is our recruitment, these are the boundaries we want to recruit within, then you turn around and look at all the major intersections and say, all right, I'm going to put yard signs there. Well, if you put one in front of the school, it only takes one car to park in front of that yard sign to block it to where nobody else sees it. So don't put out one, put out 30, put out 50. Scout office has people donating money. Your investment in character money helps go to buying these resources. And so make sure we take advantage of this. And then something else that you can consider doing too is, too fast, it clicked there. Look at getting a banner. And was it classb.com? It's a normal one. You may have heard it. Class B does patches, it does shirts and so forth. But they'll do a banner for you. A local place will do a banner. And just know, hey, look, there's different templates out on the web that you can do. There's templates on the recruiting website that you can get and so forth if you want to create it from your own. This particular example is from Class B. And so I just highly recommend. Now, one of the things that they have here, it says Troop 123, but it's real simple to put join Troop 123. And instead of doing the city and state, do your join URL, your join website link below that so that people can see it. And I'll share more about that in a second. But Liz, what's so important about our schools?
Well, schools are a wealth, obviously, of youth, but it's also a community tie with those principals, those teachers, people that have had good interactions with scout units of all ages in the past. And where they might feel, a parent may not feel comfortable coming up and talking to you as a stranger. They may get secondhand knowledge and good feedback from both teachers, principals, and other people that are maybe even a counselor or a food service person in the dining hall. So make sure that you are setting up your dates or thinking about the dates when you're visiting the school. Make sure you let people know that you're visiting. If you know adults that are working in that school, let them know that you're coming so that they can get the excitement going with their students, because they have the one-on-one relationship already with the students.
Right. And, you pointed out a good little point in there. And look, if you're trying to get into a school, and for our troops, crews, and ships, we're not really going into elementary schools. We're talking about if you want to do something with a middle school or a high school, right? So those schools have guidance counselors. Those guidance counselors do different angles of things, and the perk word to the person, the one that's going to spark their interest, is really geared towards leadership. I have a leadership education program that I am trying to find a few youth for. Miss Guidance Counselor, Mr. Guidance Counselor, could you help me identify some youth that we could recruit into this? And can I come by and visit with you and talk to you about this for a few minutes and see which ways we could possibly recruit them? It's real simple. If you go to the school principal, look, the terminology is not going to resonate there. The terminology is going to resonate with your school guidance counselors. People that are looking to get these kids into things are guidance counselors. And so make sure you target those people as you go into schools. Never be afraid, granted, of talking to a school principal. It's just one more person that helps you in a school. Now, we do want to share with you guys tonight, we're asking our Cub Scout packs to do several things. And we know and realize that our Cub Scout packs, many of them need to seriously do some recruiting this fall. So want to make sure you're aware that we're asking them to use a calendar that we're providing to them with key dates. We're asking them to help participate in particular activities. And we ask every Cub Scout pack to participate in selling popcorn. We're not shy and bashful on any of these three things. We know if a Cub Scout pack starts to deviate from any one of these three things, that we instantly will see them start to suffer in both their recruiting of youth, but also adults. And so just sharing a few dates with you so that you're aware. First round recruitment nights for our packs should be somewhere between middle of August through the middle of September into September, okay? A second recruitment would be, or a third recruitment would be, or a fourth recruitment that we're asking every unit, all of our packs, to participate on is the all together night. And that is going to be October 20th. We'll talk to you guys here a little bit more in a few seconds about that. But the activity dates that we're asking them to participate in is making sure that they have their first fun event for Cub Scouts somewhere from the middle of August through the end of September. We're asking them to participate and promote the Cub Scout Fun Day. So a lot of the activities that we promise kids to do in Cub Scouts when we recruit them, we are making sure that they're available at Cub Fun Day. And then after that, somewhere between September and really, let's say Thanksgiving, we're asking them to hold either a cardboard box derby or a Lego egg drop. We'll talk more about our Cub Scout, what those activities are later with our packs. But and then we also ask that somewhere between October, November, and December that they have pack meetings available to hand out Bobcat rank advancement. So critical that a kid that's new to Scouts gets their first rank advancement in their first patch. So a few activities real quick, but the philosophy behind the recruitment nights is, look, we need to get to those kids as soon as possible inside the schools and invite them to come join. Why? Like it or not, we're in competition with a lot of stuff. And so if we're organized and get in there first, we have the opportunity to join them first. And so first round, second round, third round recruitments, that's all important. Get in there as early as possible. And then the all together night is really important. And we really do want to invite our troops, crews, and ships to also participate on that night. Do you go and do that at the same location as a Cub Scout pack? Sure, why not? You may get a few extra kids because of that, right? If you combine efforts to promote. Now, the one of the key things to know about the all together night is the promotion of that isn't just on the scout office to help with and do a few extra things on. Your scout unit needs to get out and be seen and promote also. Okay, so that all together night is on October 20th, and we are asking our packs, our troops, our crews, our ships to all participate in that October 20th all together night. So now let's talk about how our troops, crews, and ships can help out at Cub Scout Pack.
Sure. So this was initiated by what used to be the Western Region Venturing. It is a natural fit. A lot of people talk about Den Chief, which is a position of responsibility for a venturer, a Sea Scout, and older troops. What we came up with, and what everyone I think notices, is when you hold a Cub Scout recruitment, so we're talking Cub Scouts, you notice it's real easy to get the young boys and the young girls to sign up because they want to have fun, and Cub Scouts is fun. But the hardest part is getting adults to sign an application when they don't necessarily know what Cub Scouts is about. They don't know what a den is. They've maybe never been a part of a den. They've never had siblings a part of a den when they were growing up. So what we came up with is something called Crews for Cubs, Crews for Cubs. You can also do it with ships, just change the name. You tell your parents that they have to come and attend the meeting for purposes of youth protection. You divide your Cub Scouts boys and girls den by age so that there's nothing different there. But you actually have your venturing crew members doing the meetings. So they do the flag ceremony, they do the Cub Scout promise, they do the crafts, they do the games, whatever is planned for that den meeting, they are the ones carrying it out. And the parents are standing on the sides watching. What happens is that the adults figure out that it's not that hard, but you haven't actually made the ask yet. You're using the venturing crew or the members of the ship to do the explaining, and they are doing the demonstrating for the adults. And then they're having fun with the cubs, of course. We ask that the crew or the ship provide 4 weeks, no more than 6 den meetings to get those adults onboarded. That provides the adults time. They can figure out their schedule. Maybe they don't want to be a den leader. They don't have that quite in them, but they're willing to sign up as a committee member. You may have other adults that say, hey, yeah, I want my son or my daughter to be a part of this den, and I'm willing to step in as den leader. I have actual den meetings for bear, wolf, and webelow all mapped out. Of course, if a crew or a ship wants to put together their own meeting and their own activities, they want to piece it together and do it as part of a leadership process or project planning, they're welcome to do that. The reason this is important is the youth, since they are not signed up as a den leader, they don't have access to the program helps that are on the cell phone. app that National has come out with. And adults, since they're not signed up yet, they don't have access either. This is beyond being a den chief. This is really stretching and helping our older youth grow. And the other thing is Cub Scouts see the older youth as a big brother or a big sister, and they see them in either the green shirt of the venturing or the blue shirt of the Sea Scout, or even the tan shirt if you are using an older Boy Scout or Scouts BSA. They think that's cool. I want to be person X, Y, or Z when I grow up. I want to be like them. You have now created a linear family type unit between the young Cubs and the older Sea Scouts, Venturers, and Scouts BSA people. Remember that Venturing and Sea Scouts are here to serve the packs, and they're also here to serve members of the council and their districts. So this is a perfect way that we can integrate all of the programs into one family of scouting. Back to you, Pat.
Thanks, Liz. So, Liz, what you're saying is we're inviting our troops, crews, and ships to reach out to Cub Scouts and say, hey, we'd like to help, whether it's for a new den or for the recruitment nights. But engaging there, they may find scouts that have shown up that are a little older for the packs, but they also may find that they have leadership experiences for their scouts they may not have been anticipating for, and their scouts and our older youth can really do this and set an example that will actually help make it easier to recruit den leaders and keep the possible den leaders from being scared to volunteer. And maybe you just happen to get the right den leader instead of having to go through 2 or 3 sometimes,
Pat, this has been done before in both Chief Seattle Council and in Circle 10 Council, and it has been successful in recruiting, especially the adults, those that are hesitant and don't think they understand really what Cub Scouts is about. It's an easy way to show that not only the youth are having fun, but those that are participating and being den leaders can have fun.
Yeah, and if a 15-year-old can run a den meeting, a 30-year-old, 35-year-old should be able to also.
We asked them to staff NYLT and Wood Badge, so there's no reason why they cannot staff a den meeting.
That's right. And Liz, we have lots of resources, and we tell people, hey, look, if you were to say, what's your best resources out there for recruiting? Look, this is my list. I'd tell you social media, I would tell you flyers, and I would tell you yard signs, and I would say go into a school. And then I'd also tell you peer-to-peer recruiting. So getting the youth out to actually do something themselves and say, hey, come join, to somebody else is really effective. We just got to get them to feel comfortable doing it. And then the going into a school, that's just, simple, elementary. But the flyers, look, there's lots of ways to do flyers. I've even seen where you take very similar to a real estate flyer, take one holder. You can go and buy a folder from Walmart, staple it to the bottom of a yard sign, place take one on it, and hang that out in front of somewhere and make it available. So lots of different things to consider here. But look, sometimes the first place you start is through posting on social media and making sure that you add the hashtags for somewhere else. So if you're going over to a particular park and troop 1837 is going to be at that park, then hashtag that park. If you're going to Yosemite, hashtag Yosemite. if you're going to go over to Mount Rose and go skiing for the day, and Troop 35 is going up the hill to ski, tag Mount Rose. People will see that. And the funny thing is it'll be your friends, it'll be your neighbors, it'll be other people in your local community, and then it'll be people also following Mount Rose. And so it's funny. People think, oh, it'll be just the people that are following Mount Rose. Okay, well, there could be people that follow Mount Rose in your neighborhood.
You know, another thing to add to that, Pat, is if you have a dynamic program within your troop, your crew, or your ship, and you are hashtagging that, and if you are highlighting that, the youth will come. Their friends will want to know, hey, what was that I saw on an Instagram post or a Facebook post that I saw you were skiing or you were doing X, Y, and Z. So make sure that you're really highlighting your program.
Absolutely. Now, as we talk about these things, just make sure that, like on the peer-to-peer, for example, we have resources for you available to help with that also. So if you've got a scout that does recruit a kid, they can earn a patch, and all the yard signs and flyers and stuff, all available by just going to the nevadabsa.org/membership and hitting the resource request form button that's there, and being able to request that material. So now, open house versus year-round. I know in our troops, a lot of times we don't do either one of these, right? Open house, it's kind of the same thing as saying a join night. Year-round recruiting, the questions that I really have affiliated with you for this is, do you select a particular night and push hard for that open house? Have you considered finding a person and asking them to run year-round recruiting for your unit? And what are you going to do year-round? Are you going to do recruiting year-round? Are you going to do it just for a month? Are you only going to recruit that Weebo den? Like, I think right now, over the next year or two, you may not be able to recruit just a Weebo den. You're probably going to have to reach out and do something beyond. And can you recruit an adult and a youth to help be that welcome scouter, the new member coordinator? Can you get a youth to help do this too? There's no reason why you can't find a youth to be really charismatic and just run with this. Now, as I was saying, for our recruiting with a scout going and getting a friend to come and join, look, you can submit for a patch. We'll have that link. It'll be part of the updated website on Friday, and you'll be able to submit any youth this fall for being able to earn one of those patches. So if they recruit a youth, they get a patch. If they recruit 2 youth, up to you if you want to submit them for a second patch. I really don't care. So, but one of the things I mentioned earlier was the ability to have your own URL to be able to share with other people. And so for your scout unit, for example, you can go to nevadabsa.org/PAC15. All of our ships, our troops, our crews, all are going to have this also. They're starting to be turned on now as we talk. But just know that your own page you can update. You can put pictures on there and so forth. We don't get very elaborate. So if you want a rolling slide deck and you just give us the little code to put in on the web page, and you've got some scout that knows what they're doing with that, that's fine. It's not a page that's meant to be set up and be your main website page. You don't have access to be able to update it. It's a simple page. But we do put a link on there for beascout.org. We do also encourage you to put any PDF document, any Word document, whatever you want on there. We'll upload it and we'll put a link to it for you. But if it's got unit contacts on there, if it's got a calendar, whatever you would like to really have on a flyer that you would use as a promo flyer to hand to a new parent, we can put that on there. And then there's a button link that instead of it taking you over to just beascout.org, it takes you directly to the online website page for you to join. And so it'll go directly to, more specifically, your unit's page to join. So now, online applications are critical and key. We're recommending every Scout unit stop using the paper applications. It's pretty hard for our Scout office to tell you right now if you've got the current application or if you've got an expired application. And if you've got an expired adult application and you turn that one in and it doesn't have the right CBC background check form, we pretty much have to get you to redo it. And so what we're highly encouraging you to do is use your online portal for joining and use that. Now we're going to have a whole nother video and a whole training just on how to do MyScouting. It won't be a live in-person setup. We're just going to do a video, we'll record it, and we'll send that out over the next couple of weeks. So, but it'll be on MyScouting and how to manage going through the application manager and also going through and setting up the right positions to be able to approve both adults and youth, because it used to be you had to have your charter rep log in and be able to do all adult applications. Well, your charter rep doesn't have to be that only person now. You can assign a delegate role to somebody. So we'll help explain that, but we highly encourage you to only use online applications. And much of the reasoning to that is because of accuracy of information and timeliness of that person getting in. If you turn in a paper application, like it or not, it can take a couple of weeks for that person to even show up in your unit. If you do an online application and they filled it out right now, come tomorrow morning, they'll show up in Scoutbook for your unit and you'll be able to start doing stuff right away for them. So there's let's face it, our parents expect things right away. So do we as Scout unit leaders, and the online application helps us do that. Now, we really want to make sure that we fulfill the promise. Look, if any Scout goes to a Scout meeting, they have a certain attitude, but so can you. If somebody shows up and goes to a soccer sign up, what are they going there for? To sign up for soccer. It's simple. They're going with the expectation that they're walking away having signed up for soccer. It's the same thing for Scouts, unless you give them an excuse to not have that attitude. If you carry the right attitude that, hey, you came tonight, we're going to get you going in Scouting tonight. So glad you came. They will have that same attitude if you have that attitude. And it's all about making sure that you have the right calendar ready and always able to share, that you have a plan, not just a plan for your Scouts that are in the program, but a plan to sell your program. And then also making sure that you share it well with anyone that comes in. And that starts with making sure that you have a welcome parent and a welcome youth leader and can really run with selling the program. Now, just so you know, activity dates that are coming up, Cub Fun Day for both Elko and Reno is on October 23rd. And then the Fall Camperall is October 15th through October 17th. And so those are important dates. If you're recruiting new Scouts, those are two great activities for you to make sure that they can attend. And what's most important tonight is that if you have questions, Liz and I wanted to make sure I'll have Liz be available she can stick around and help answer questions. I'm going to jump over to this other meeting here in a few minutes, but if you also have questions, you're welcome to email away at membership@nevadabsa.org. Any one of us on the membership committee can get those emails now. You can also find resources at nevadabsa.org/membership, and that will be fully updated come Friday. Very glad and grateful for everyone to join us tonight. I'm going to stop the recording, make sure that we can